Oh, man. Rah! Wasn't that what we heard earlier? I see Noah Coleman in the chat putting it in there. I probably blew out your guys' ears if the mic wasn't set up right, so I apologize in advance. Let me know what is up, everybody. Let me know in the chat what you thought of that race. Give me the rating out of 10. Yeah, all the rahs you got. I love it. I'm sorry. That was like the highlight of the night for me. That was fun as hell. Dude. Oh, yeah. Do the roar. I love it. Absolutely love it. So you guys let me know out of 10 what you thought of this race. And we are riding the Dente tonight. You were right, John. We have some 9s, 10s, 9, 8s, 8s, 9s, 8s. We're seeing a lot of positive stuff in this race. Talking about the Sutton penalty. We'll talk about Dawson Sutton in a moment. I saw him race at the Nashville Fairgrounds for a while. Really good driver. Didn't have the greatest night until it got a little better. Yes, we do have the Iron Maiden shirt. I was actually at this concert. So there you go. Oh, man. Well, we have a fun race to talk about. I think I'm on the same page as a lot of y'all. I really liked that race, not just for the finish, but it was just for the most part. You had some moments happen that are like, yeah, those are truck moments. But at the same time, you just had a straightforward, I think, relatively clean, fun race. I appreciate the super chats. I will read those and any others that anyone else reads after we talk a bit more about the race. We'll go through the finishing order in a moment. But I really liked this race. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a real who's who race. I mean, yes, you had the Cup guys like Hocevar and Byron up there, but you had Heim up there. You had Riggs up there. I'm looking at some of the others too. Hey, Honeycutt showed out, the thumbnail driver. It was a fun race in those aspects. This race was the 2025 I believe it's Heart of Healthcare, not Heart of America. They changed the name of it on Wednesday night, the official name of it. But the Heart of Healthcare 250 at Kansas won after 134 laps and 7 cautions for 33 laps for an hour, 48-minute, 47-second race after 8 lead changes by just barely over a quarter of a second, leading 75 laps. Carson Hocevar comes home with the victory, barely over Lane Riggs, who had a hard charge at the end of this thing. And when I mean hard charge, I mean, I think if you give him a lap more and he doesn't have to make a move into turn 1 in the last lap, this guy gets the victory. Lane Riggs definitely could. Lane Riggs comes home second, but I honestly think he might have had the best truck by the end of the race. Absolutely great run for him. And it keeps reinforcing why over and over again, I kept saying that he is going to be a Final Four driver this year for the Truck Boys. And you know what? I am as steady on that as I have ever been with that prediction. William Byron comes home, only leading 4 laps today. Third place run was about the best that he could actually run today. Honestly, he was kind of a non-factor other than sticking with Hocevar for about 10 laps after the final restart. Corey Heim had a horrible day. Had penalties, had pit problems, didn't have the best truck in traffic at times. After this horrible day, terrible day for Corey Heim, he comes home with, again, I know it's a bad day. I know it's not Heim time. Comes home with a terrible 4th place finish. Damn, he's really good. Like, he is really damn good, man. Corey Heim he's legit. He doesn't belong in the Truck Series. He belongs at minimum in a top tier Xfinity ride, probably Cup at this point. And then we got to hear of his hatred for Carson Hocevar, which I absolutely love that. Let's have a Cup rivalry come up with this one too. Man, he led 52 laps today. It is completely my opinion. I might be completely wrong on this. This guy has no business being stuck in the Truck Series. He fits much better with a Carson Hocevar or a William Byron than he does with a Ruggiero, a Friesen, Garcia, Honeycutt. Like there is a clear difference, and there's a reason why every single race we think this guy's going to win. Like this past week on NWP, we had our buddy Grant from Auto Racing Analytics on. He picked Heim over 2 Cup guys and a bunch of guys who are really good at this track. And if there weren't those problems, he probably would have been correct in the win because he had the positioning. Gio Ruggiero comes home in 5th. 6th, Stuart Friesen. Brandon Jones quietly comes home 7th. Did anyone, if you didn't see him on the camera once, right? Because you really didn't too much tonight. But if I hadn't brought him up, how many of you, and be honest, how many of you would have actually known Brandon Jones was in this race? Because had I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have. Jake Garcia in 8th, 9th, Caden Honeycutt, though I think he ran much better than that tonight, and 2 laps led for a top 10 finish for Grant Enfinger. 11th is Daniel Hemrick. 12th is Ben Rhodes. Matt Mills in 13th. 14th, Matt Crafton. Ty Majeski in 15th. 16th, after being in the top 5 and top 10 at the end of this thing, after all of the different problems, Dawson Sutton, the guy who cut his teeth at the Nashville Fairgrounds, comes home with the 16th place run. Again, I still think there's some bright stuff in the future for him. Tyler Ankrum comes home with the 17th place run. Chandler Smith, 18th. Mosak in 19th. Perez in 20th. Breidinger, 21st. Last truck. Not car, truck. I almost said car. On the lead lap. 1 lap down in 22nd for Raja Karuth. Cody Dennison also a lap down in 23rd. 24th, 2 off the pace for Boyd. And Jack Wood in 25th. Bayard, I believe is how you say it. Or Bayard. I don't know. Morgan comes home 26th, 3 laps off the pace, 4 laps down for Bailey Curry tonight. Out of the race in 28th, right at the very end, was Tanner Gray. Frankie Muniz, 29th out of this thing as well. Same with Nathan Burden, 30th, and Luke Baldwin with the last place finish. And I believe I have everybody's name spelled right. If I don't, I know you guys will let me know. There is the finishing order on the bottom. Okay, let's I'm like trying to think where we should start, and I'm just going to start with the finish. That was an awesome finish. Yes, we didn't get that pass for the win from Riggs to kind of close it off, walk off right at the end last lap. I get that. But he was in no man's land with 10 to go. I mean, I think he was over 2 seconds back or something like that. But just like last year, that 34 truck, Lane Riggs, just like last year, I was at Kansas, just got better as the night went on. And that's something I've noticed from Lane Riggs over and over again, is he gets better as the night goes, or day, whichever it is for trucks at any given time. He is always seemingly going forward. And if he's not, it's because he stepped over the line and he's finding that still. I think he's going to just be, I don't think that, you can say on the level, but at least in the season progression, it's kind of like Tony Stewart in the sense that he's going to get better as the summer heats up. He's going to get better as the season goes on. And he was putting Carson Hocevar, who has been a very highly touted, very talented young Cup driver, a young Cup driver that everyone I think agrees with, whether you like him or not, has a great, great future in this sport. And he took him to the brink. They made that contact. Both of them get into the wall. But I see no foul whatsoever. Anyone complaining on either side about that is looking for a reason to complain. That was a damn awesome finish. No stupid overtime either. Just a natural flowing progression of the race, natural finish with it. I get that there's things we can nitpick, but there is no way you can't tell me at minimum this was a good race and a really good finish. Those are the minimum for this race. I have been on this kind of bandwagon this year, and I've said it, I'd say since about the middle of March. The truck series right now is the best series consistency-wise in the racing. When it comes to the racing, when it comes to great finishes, when it comes to these moments, I think it's the best series right now consistently in NASCAR. I think it's between that and Xfinity right now, especially after the last 6 weeks or so for the Cup guys. It has been leagues better than that Phoenix race they showed. Hocevar, of course, being the Cup guy, getting that experience, being quite talented. Of course, was, I think a step or two ahead of Riggs. Even if Riggs had the better truck, it's just that it's so much about air in NASCAR today, which Riggs is going to learn. Riggs will learn that, just like Heim has, just like the Cup guys of Hocevar and Byron did. You're going to see a lot of those guys, I think, learning this more and more as the year goes on. I think Riggs is going to be at the front of them. Do not count him out, especially we're going to North Wilkesboro this week. Short tracks are the 34s bread and butter. I think it's going to be pretty damn good. All right, this might be an obvious question, but do you prefer Brad or Joey in the booth? I'm going to lean Brad. I just think, he kind of carries that prestige a little more. I know that Joey, by the numbers, is a more accomplished driver, but I do like Brad in the booth better. It just really depends on how the rest of it is. I honestly didn't think Fox was all that bad tonight. For Fox standards, I have to preface that. For Fox standards, I don't think it was that bad. There was the obvious stuff and the problems, and whatnot, but they didn't take me out of the race at any point. Which that's, to me, at this point, especially the truck broadcast, that's all I ask. Just don't take me out of the race. Let me enjoy it. Don't give me something that's obviously wrong. I think the worst thing I heard tonight was saying that Hocevar is 6'6". I don't think he is 6'6". But again, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to the race itself. I don't know if I can say this is my favorite truck race of the year, because Homestead was really good too. I'd have to think back a little harder on it, but this is definitely top 3 truck races of the year so far, easily, possibly for the year. Which is crazy, because I think it's the smallest field the truck guys have had in years, with only 31 trucks tonight. But either way, I had if you can't tell, I had a freaking blast with this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's 6'4" as well, because there's no way he's close to the height of Eric. I like that one. He's 6'13". Oh man, I mean, I can look it up right now and you'll see the camera shake a little. How tall is, let's see, Carson Hocevar? Yeah, it says 6'4". I think he'd be like 6'3", 6'4", at least when I've stood next to him before. I haven't had to look up too much, so but it was funny too, because Lane Riggs said apparently after the race, Hocevar flipped him off, which, you know what? I wouldn't do that. I don't know if Hocevar did, because I wasn't paying attention too much to that. But I kind of like having drivers with an edge and drivers not liking each other. Let's talk about the Heim stuff. How it was reported that, after what happened with Phoenix, they brought it up again. Hocevar taking out Heim in that. And I think I wrote it down in the first part of the race. Where did they report it at? I wrote it down. But he said something to the degree of I hate that guy. I absolutely hate him. And from the reporting, at least how it sounded, it didn't sound like it was jokingly. And yeah, I am all for real rivalries, not they've raced tough against each other before. They're both successful, but they don't really have any history or anything. It's the meme that these two have history, but it's true. Those two do have history. And early in the race, Heim was racing Hocevar incredibly tough. And we don't see that as much. I remember as a kid, if people had problems with each other a lot in any of the top 3 series, that you would see that stuff on a regular basis. I'm not going to wreck you, but I'm not going to give you a damn inch at all. You're not going to get any quarter out of me whatsoever. You're not going to get anything from me. And we see that sometimes, and we see that maybe racing at the end of stages. But Heim and Hocevar tonight, I mean, that was, I want to say, again, I might be wrong. I don't know the exact lap unless I wrote it down somewhere that it happened. Yeah, I was in the middle of stage 2, roughly around the start. I love it. Absolutely love that. And especially with how talented both are, and if they can both either their rides get better or improve in rides or whatever, that could be something that could be in the cards for another 10 or 15 years. Even if they like mend things up, you know, they're going to race against each other. You know, they're both like, really, really aggressive, especially Hocevar, but Heim is too. I love that, man. Like for all the people, because I know there's a lot of them that say that I just bitch and moan about racing and I hate NASCAR and all that crap. And you'll pull that out of context. Here is your evidence. Like, this is what I want. This tonight was fun. And you can probably tell by how just amped I am and ready to go. Like, this was a ton of fun to watch. And the best part is, you know, I already brought up the trucks being so damn good, but the best part for me is this probably isn't going to be the best race of the weekend, because Kansas with the next gen is so freaking good, man. Like this weekend for me is, even when I'm not attending at the track now, this weekend is top 5 for me. Kansas weekend, both of them, I kind of put them together. Just Kansas is top 5 for me. Doesn't matter what the circumstance is, doesn't matter in any way, any of the outside factors. When you're just looking strictly at the weekend, I am so ready to go. I absolutely love it, man. You know, there was some more to talk about in this race. The start was really, really sloppy. Jake Garcia, hot lap hero on the pole. You know, he's going to be somebody, where'd he finish? Like, it's probably going to be on the bottom there. God, I can't read my own handwriting. 8th. He finished 8th. He's going to be somebody, I think, maybe not this year, but next year, who's going to be a real, real good driver in the truck series. You know, as long as things stay the same and are pretty damn good. You know, but he starts on the pole, really sloppy, 5-6 wide, I think I saw in the pack there. Contact being made. And lap 4, Dawson Sutton spins it heading into the pits. So I bring back Chicagoland win, maybe 2026. Just saying. I'm going to leave you a poll here, because I do kind of want to know what you guys think of this. So let's leave a poll. And it's just yes or no. Did Sutton intent spin? I'm very curious what you guys think of that, because the thing is, they really didn't show the greatest replay of it. NASCAR said they did. I'm wondering if there was radio call that Fox didn't play on that one, because they said that Dawson Sutton intentionally spun heading into the pits. Granted, he also did have a flat tire. You want to give him the benefit of the doubt there. They held him 2 laps for intentionally bringing out the yellow. And on one hand, NASCAR has been very consistent on this aspect. When it comes to intentionally wrecking, for the most part, if they have evidence of doing so, or it's pretty damn clear on your circumstance, I can remember all the way back in like 2008, they were consistent on 2-lap penalties and stuff like that. So on one hand, I want to be inclined to believe that they probably found something, or someone said something, or I don't know what data they might have had with it. On the other hand, though, without showing some real evidence as to them doing this, as to Dawson Sutton intentionally spinning to bring out the caution, especially at the entrance of pit road, which is just a really bad spot, I don't want to crucify him on that. Maybe it's my Nashville Fairgrounds bias showing here or something like that. He was able to recover. He got back on the lead lap, got as high as the top 5 in the last 15 laps before he struggled all the way back to 16th at the end there. This is, I believe, the same place he got a top 5 at last fall. So it wasn't like it was a total loss of a race, but it's, I think it's an interesting conversation to be had. Now, of course, the rest of the stage, for the most part, was pretty much a normal truck stage. I mean, the start was kind of sloppy. The start was kind of crazy. You had the little controversy, if you will. But other than the Luke Baldwin right front flat that caused a caution, it was basically pretty clean and green. Restarting at the end there with Heim winning the stage 1 over Carruth, Enfinger, Hocevar, Chandler Smith, Riggs, Hemrick, Honeycutt, Gray, and Curry. And I want to bring this up with Raja Caruth because we kind of talked about in the last couple of weeks. Fox talked about him before the race, and they even interviewed him. That it's kind of like that tale of two seasons, right? That the first part of the season was really bad. He's been pretty consistent as of late. He went all the way back to a lap down, 22nd place finish. Now we got 9 stage points in the first stage and one more. So you got 10 stage points on the day. That will help him out. I mean, it's the equivalent of a 12th place finish because of how well he ran during those. But these aren't the finishes he can have. They really are not. I want to look really quick at the schedule on my end because it feels weird saying this, right? Because there's so many races that are in a row here. We have Kansas tonight. We had Texas last week. But after this, we have Wilkesboro next week, Charlotte, Nashville, Michigan, week off, then Pocono, Lime Rock, right almost all after each other. So when you're looking at how many races are left until the truck playoffs, it's 9. And I get that it's not as strong of a field as, say, the Cup Series or the Xfinity guys. But when you see the hole that Raja Caruth has put himself in to start the year, you can't have races like this. You got to finish top 10 if you're going to point your way in and hope there's not some crazy ass winner that pops up. I don't know exactly what the points are at this time. He might have gained points depending on how it is. Again, I don't follow it that closely until probably the summer months, like mid to late June on with all the series. But 9 races to go. I mean, it's already crunch time for the truck guys. It's just because of how the schedule is laid out. The second stage, this was the one that for the most part is another one straightforward. Of course, you had Cody Dennison spinning with a flat. And Heim had a slow stop, had a problem on pit road. That was the first thing that put him towards the back. Late restart. This gives Carson Hocevar complete control of the race because for the most part, to start this race, it was Heim who had full control of it. You had Hocevar that was following behind him, but really couldn't make all that much a move because they were very similar in speed. Hocevar a little bit better, I think, than Heim tonight. But once you got the 11 out of the way, Hocevar, I mean, he goes on to win the stage, leads pretty much the entirety of the rest of the way. It was completely in his control from about lap 52 onwards of this race. He gets the stage over Riggs, then Enfinger, Byron, Hemrick, Gray, Ankrum, Rhodes, Honeycutt, and Caruth as well. Final stage, and again, I got to get my handy dandy notebook. And it was just, it was Hocevar's race. He got it back going. They get some green flag stops after Hocevar's been leading for a bit. And this is another key, in my opinion, as to why, especially Riggs didn't win, but Hocevar did. And it's complete luck of the draw. Complete luck in so many ways. So Riggs, Enfinger, and Heim, the 3 guys that were trailing behind Hocevar, the best 3 behind him, they pit with 40 to go. Hocevar pits a lap later. About half a lap after he pits, as he's finishing up his stop, Frankie Muniz spins out of turn 4, trying to avoid the 81 truck that was going onto the pits. Spins, brings out the caution, and traps a lot of those guys a lap down, shuffles the field up. Hocevar able to get ahead of William Byron, keep himself on the lead lap, cycles out to be the leader, and he leads the rest of the way. That to me was what cemented this race as Hocevar's to win. Because while they got restarted again, and this is where Heim completely lost the race because he had a restart violation, changed lanes before the line, following Tony Breidinger, who also got penalized. Just uncharacteristically dumb move out of the 11, which it was just an uncharacteristic night. And again, they finished 4th. Like, this isn't like they finished 24th of what could have been. No, they finished 4th. It was a real what could have been tonight. And, right a few laps after that, Heim was able to stay on the lead lap. That's why he charged up through the field at the end. With 24 to go, Bailey Curry was spinning off of turn 2. The 38 gets into Mosek, turns him around, cautions out. We get to the final restart. And while Hocevar cleared Byron, William Byron for about 10 laps did actually stay with him. I picked Hocevar to win tonight on NWP. I was sweating a little bit because I believe y'all picked Byron to win this race, which is a pretty good pick. And, well, he just couldn't stay with Hocevar. Lane Riggs is putting up a charge. Heim is too far back. Heim managed to go from like a 24th or something place restart to 4th, which was amazing. Riggs, though, charging up through the top 5, about a second and a half back with roughly 5-6 to go, whenever it was that he had fully cleared and was pulling away for second there. Mounts up a charge with 3 to go. He is in the wall, scraping it all the way around, but still staying with Hocevar. Lap after lap, making different moves, trying to get there. Last lap, goes down into turns 1 and 2, gets right there. They make contact. Both of them slap up into the wall. They both keep it together. Both keep running for the win. Hocevar, of course, beating him to the line. And again, it might be the best race of the Truck Series season. I absolutely love this race. And I probably would have loved it more if Riggs had made that pass. But man, that was just, yes, he just let Jesus take the wheel in 1 and 2. That is a perfect way, Owen, of putting it. That is a perfect way of putting it. And yeah, 69% is nice. Yeah. I mean, maybe not to the exact degree, but shades of Johnny Sauter and Ron Hornaday. Man, I love it. I absolutely loved this race. If you couldn't tell already, I'm going to look at some of the super chats here. First one from Rusted Valor for the 2, saying glad for a good race with a great finish. Yeah. I mean, this was just the definition of an incredibly solid NASCAR race in just about every way that you could. The Sonic 24 for the 5 says, do you think a good race on Sunday would make the execs completely ignore the next gen discourse and pretend everything is great again? Publicly, yes, they totally would, because we've had about 5 or 6 straight weeks cup wise of just mediocre at best racing. But I do think internally they're probably going to make some changes. I'm knock on wood that they're able to make those. They definitely should. If they, if they're serious about it, they should make those changes. Anything will help at this point at most tracks that aren't 1.5 miles. But in no way am I like, man, we kind of need a mediocre race so that NASCAR will stay on this. No, I think they'll stay on this. Andrew is giving us the lol cow of the race for the 2, says Sutton is a lol cow of the race. Nice job. Yeah, that was a very rough start. That's for sure. And Martin Fan for Life for the 5 says on lap 3, I was like, oh no, it's going to be ugly, but they cleaned it up and turned into a great race. Yeah. It was, I had those worries too. Not going to say I didn't. But they've shown most races this year that they're very much capable of cleaning it up, staying clean, and putting on some really good racing. And the Truck Series of 3 years ago or so, 2 years ago, whatever it was, I couldn't say the same thing. So maybe I'm just like pleasantly surprised more than anything. Hunter Nixon Fishing says, for the 5, happy Mother's Day to all. Stoked for tomorrow. Kansas is one of my favorite races. Yes, happy Mother's Day, early Mother's Day to my mom and all the moms out there. Be sure to make it good for your moms. If you're not in town, like, unfortunately I'm not in the same town as my mom, make sure to call. Which mom, if you're watching, get your phone ready. As soon as it hits midnight, I'm going to call. Just letting you know. And Sly Supersonic for the 316 says, Hocevar is still overrated. I'm not buying it. I get that. He hasn't proven anything on the cup level yet. I don't think he's had some great potential. He also has great potential of kind of lolcowing it up, to put it in Andrew Winslow's sort of words. But I am pretty bullish on him still. But I get it. He has a lot to prove. That is for sure. All right. I think that's going to do it for tonight. So we'll be live tomorrow. I will try and have it up as early as possible. Weather forecast looks pretty good for Kansas tomorrow, so shouldn't have any rain delays like we did last year. So be sure to like up the stream, Subscribe if you're new. We do this after every race, man. We do it after every single race. Trucks, Xfinity, Cup. I mean, it's going to take a ton to be able to make me not do one of these. So I can't wait for tomorrow, one of my favorite races of the year. And enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, and make sure you give your moms a good Mother's Day. See you tomorrow. Later.